patty cake, baker's man. Bake me a cake as fast as you can.
As you become a parent, you go through a process of finding out about yourself in your relationship to a new human being. This process is different for every parent, in every family, and with each new baby. All the parents in the film you'll see were quite surprised to find that they were really not prepared for the changes the new baby brought into their lives. They questioned their ability to cope with their new responsibilities, and they had to find new ways of meeting their own needs and those of the baby. But as they saw their babies grow, they learned confidence. Each new day brought them closer to understanding their baby, and gradually they found their own answers to their questions. And each in his or her own way learned to become a parent.
I think that at the time that you have the baby, you first come home with her, you are alone. I mean, that's it. You can have your husband or whatever, but you're alone, and you don't know it at the time. I think you feel different, that you're different from everyone else.
One day I was working until 5 o'clock on work that I've been doing for a long time, and the next day I had a baby, and my life changed completely after that. And even though I was just very excited about the baby and so pleased that he was a beautiful, healthy baby with a good disposition, I had all these new things to cope with, and nobody who quite understood what the change meant for me.
That makes you realize that at the beginning, all those feelings you have of being cut off from everybody and alone and not sure what to do, that you realize every woman probably who has a baby feels this way. But it's only in retrospect that you know that.
Moving right along. Now just relax and stay right on top of it. Breathe in and out. Hand a little bit. You tell me when you start to feel like pushing. All right. Well, the pressure is normal, and you're doing fine. The pressure is all normal. That's just the baby's head coming down. You getting contraction now? All right. Now take a deep breath. Long and as hard as you can. Push long as hard. Right down here. Let it all go in the bottom. Come on. Concentrate on pushing. You're going to have this baby in the next contraction. Beautiful. Stand. Oh, look at that. Oh, terrific. There you are. It's another girl. A girl. That little Nathaniel's Annie. Look at that.
Look at that.
Now, all that clothing that you got will not go to waste.
Go to waste.
Immediately after the birth, I felt great. It's a great achievement. But then I came home, and then everything changes. Okay. Would you like to take her shirt?
It's very important to do it behind her ears.
You feel trapped the first 4 to 6 weeks. You feel like everyone's dependent on you, especially when you have an older child that you have to get off to school. Meet her needs as well as your husband's and your own and the baby's. The powder.
I realized one day it was 11 o'clock in the morning, and by that hour I had only managed to feed him, feed myself, give us both a bath, and get us dressed. And I'd had the help of the student nurse, and I was going to be leaving the hospital having to do all these things on my own, and it was going to take me that amount of time. And I really felt like my life had changed a great deal. And Johnny sort of understood it, but he was in such a happy place. I mean, he was so excited about the baby coming. He hadn't gone through some of the, the physical problems that I was having to cope with. And it was like he just couldn't grasp how much I felt like a ton of bricks had fallen on me.
The first week that Jimmy was born, we were in the hospital, and that was a real high. I think that was the happiest week of all for me.
Jimmy.
I wound up spending all day there every day, even though I hadn't planned to do it that way. I'd go in the morning and stay till late at night. I was afraid that everybody would think I was a real nudge, but it turned out that the nurses really enjoyed having fathers around who were interested in doing a lot with their kid. They taught me how to bathe him one day. They taught me how to swaddle him. They'd show me what to do when he cried and how to get mucus out of his nose. And as the week went on, I just felt closer and closer to this baby. And by the time we left the hospital, I almost felt like I could raise him. Not without Les, but like if Les had to go away for an afternoon or a day, I was fine.
He was really cuddly the first day. He slept most of the time. He slept on me. After a while, I discovered that he was just as active as he was inside of me, outside of me, and he'd stiffen up and he'd get all rigid, and when you'd feed him his bottle, or he'd sit there and shake his head back and forth with his mouth open and stuff. And I never expected a baby to fight back when he did anything like this, or to try and push away, or when they wake up in the middle of the night, even if they're sleeping on the bottom of the bassinet, to be all the way up to the end with their legs kicking and screaming and stuff. It isn't all that enjoyable all the time. You know, to all of a sudden be home alone without the nurses to lean on, and just at one with your baby, and you worry, oh my God, what if the baby suffocates in their sleep? You know, all these worries that go through your head, you know, constantly waking up, looking at the baby just to make sure he's still breathing. And these things might seem really stupid to someone who doesn't have a child, but when you're first a mother, you know, you wonder, like, you know, how can his body function? You know, how can he survive and stuff like that? You know, he's so little.
Maybe she was home about 2 or 3 days, and I was going to give her a bath, and I undressed her, and she was all peeling, her whole body, mainly her body was peeling, and I really got panicked, and even Jerry got slightly panicked, and we called the doctor, and I described it to him, and he said, oh, it's all right, you know, but I think he must have known I wasn't reassured, and he said, look, just think of her as molting. So I felt a lot better then.
We had a hectic 4 weeks, just not knowing where I was at half the time. I was up all night with the baby. She was up nursing, not nursing. So it's a whole new adjustment. It's a nice feeling to breastfeed. Have that little mouth there. When you look down and see the baby, he's sucking on your breast, and it's a close feeling, like she's really depending on you.
The first week we were in the hospital, the 4th day after he was born, Jimmy started acting extremely hungry, and the pediatrician was there and recommended that we start him on a supplemental bottle, which meant that as soon as we came home from the hospital, we had to be prepared to give him bottles, and that was something we were not at all set up to do. And it made the first few days at home just really a lot of work. We had to get the nipples adjusted, we had to figure out how to wash bottles. Nobody told us how to do those things. And nobody really told us how to cope with some of the breastfeeding problems as they came up. And then, after a month's time, when Jimmy had failed to gain any weight at all, I was really distressed. It was like all the effort that we put into him those first few weeks were for naught. And he was like a brand new baby to me again. I felt like I had misread him completely. I didn't realize that he was so hungry, that he was not gaining any weight. He didn't act that way. He slept and cried, but he didn't do it in an unusual way. And so now I felt like I had to go back to ground zero with him and start all over again to learn his signals, to learn how he behaved and how he let me know when he needed to be fed and stuff like that. Do 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 do. That's a boy. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Hi. Hi.
Baby first came home, the whole thing's a novelty. It's exciting, and you know everything is going along. And then after about 2 or 3 months of getting up in the middle of the night and going through all the routines, and of course all of a sudden I have to use a lot of my time to take care of a lot of extra mundane things that I never did before. And the novelty starts wearing off. And then at the same point, I started feeling, well, no one's really paying attention to me anymore. And you're kind of aware of it, or you're not aware of it. And you try to act like an adult and be mature about the whole thing, but inside you feel like no one's really paying attention to you. And you're taking care of the baby, and you're taking care of the baby, and you're taking care of the baby, and she doesn't do anything. She doesn't really respond to you. It's just a one-way street. You're taking care of her. But then suddenly, a few months later, it starts to change a little bit. She starts to give back to you. She starts to smile, and she starts to recognize you. And if you go in the middle of the night, or if you go in the morning, she looks at you, and she's really happy to see you. And it's a good feeling to know that somebody is happy to see you. So now she's starting to become a person, and we're really starting to develop a rapport. I really love this little kid, and now it's fun.
Jimmy, hi. Hi, Jimmy. Do you want to play with this? Let me put it down and see if you reach for it. That's the boy. That's it. See, he can really grab onto things now.
That's new, too. A couple of weeks ago, he just sort of stared at things kind of helplessly and sort of shook his hands from side to side.
He's interested in them. And now he can really reach. Let's see. Let's take this away. Here it is. Come on, Jimmy. Here's this is for you. Very good boy. I had my first child after working several years, and I went home to stay there until nursery school age. But I really found that this wasn't me, and I took a look at, I was doing it because I thought society expected that of a woman in this, role. Okay, coming up. Everybody's hungry today, huh? Yeah. I love being a mother, and I love my work, but the kind of person I am, the energies that I have, I could never be fulfilled by one or the other. I need both to make me go.
God's grace, God's good. Let us thank Him for our food. By His hand we are refreshed. He looks on us daily. Amen. I was glad myself.
My husband gave me the support that I needed, where he would come in and not give the baby a bath while I was cooking the meal. I never got the feeling that he ever thought less of me as a mother or as a wife because I returned back to work. But he supported me in so many ways. Everybody.
Let's go away. Go away.
I have to admit, there were, times when I would hold her at night and put her in the bed and then say, gee, this is the only time I've held her during the day. But the time that I spent with her, I made it so meaningful. It wasn't the quantity, it was the quality of time. I'm really being an individual, being myself, not letting society impose these things on me. I have 2 children now. I have a career, and I'm married. So it's all 3 in one. And I think that for myself, I'm a better person because I am fulfilling my needs as an individual.
You have to be ready. And I know we were married 5 years before we had Anna. Your whole life changes. It's a big, big change.
In the direction that the hair is going. That's the girl. You like that? Huh? Does that feel good? I think you do. Oh, that feels nice. Want to do it right there? I think she liked that, Anna.
The reason we were feeling so hassled and the reason that we were upset with each other was not because our marriage was falling apart or anything as disastrous as that, but because we just had a baby and there was a whole new set of obligations and responsibilities and work that we had to do to take care of him, and it was weighing us down a little bit.
Jimmy's only 4 months old now, but looking back on it, all that seems very far away. I guess what was what stands out in my mind the most about it was that I think we sort of made more changes in our lives and had to do more adjusting in a period of just a couple of months than we've ever had to do before in that small amount of time. And it's something that when you live through it, you can look back on it almost with a lot of pride. But when you're living through it, it's really hard.
It's not that we're back to normal. We're back to normal, and in some ways we're back at a better place than we were before. Jimmy has really made our lives richer. There are times when he can amuse us, each of us, like we can't amuse ourselves or amuse each other. He really adds something to our lives. He makes it much richer.
I learned a lot of a sense of responsibility. I mean, you can't shun responsibility when you're a mother. I learned to, that I could take care of myself and other people, and that I was capable of doing something with myself other than just being, a juvenile delinquent.
I don't know if I enjoyed her as much at the beginning because I was so worried about everything that had to do with her. And now I feel like I'm somebody's mother. And I don't know that I felt that way when I was first home with her. I mean, I knew it intellectually, but I don't think I really felt it. And now I just take it for granted that she's my daughter, and that in many ways I really do know what to do for her. Even though there are plenty of ways I still am not sure, I feel a lot more comfortable. I feel like she's doing well. I guess this is part of it. You see this every month at the doctor's or whatever, and you get confident. You just start to gain confidence and know who you are and who the baby is and where you're sort of going. But you don't know at first.